Tempt. Romance audiobooks. A safe place to explore your dreams.
Chapter 1. Olivia. How long does it take to dig a 6-foot hole? I swipe a hand over my sweaty forehead, not even caring that I likely smeared garden soil across my face. Evie doesn't hesitate. 6 feet wide or 6 feet deep? Both. I bark into the phone as I attempt to light the envelope in my hand on fire through some telepathic transfer of molten fury from my eyeballs. He's got some nerve. Shit, my best friend replies. There's no need to ask whom I'm preparing to use as garden fertilizer. What did he do? Channeling serenity from the early spring sky and its accompanying breeze across my skin, I raise my eyes from the envelope and draw in a deep breath. It doesn't work. He invited me to his wedding. I cough out before exhaling and finishing through gritted teeth. In Belize. I didn't even know he was engaged. Evie gasps with a degree of indignation that proves why she's my very best friend. I'm on my way. You got an extra shovel, or should I bring my own? 20 minutes later, I've abandoned my garden tools and the rest of the mail as Evie and I sit across from one another at my kitchen table. The cursed invitation, with its luscious ivory parchment and hand-calligraphied swirls, rests on the surface between us, where we watch it like it might morph into a snapping crocodile at any moment. Why would he even want me there? I'm not mad my ex is moving on, believe me. I'm just pissed this is how he chose to tell me. So help me God, if he's telling the kids the same way, I might actually go through with the fertilizer plan. A bead of residual sweat drips down my cleavage, and I pluck my shirt from my chest to provide some ventilation. Evie hits the switch for the overhead fan, and I sigh in appreciation. It's not her first day as my hot flash wingwoman. He doesn't expect you to actually show, she reassures, slender hands cradling her coffee mug and vigilant brown eyes still waiting for a flash of crocodile teeth. The guy can't stand that you've become wildly successful without him, so he's looking for something to rub in your face. I choke out a laugh. If he could only see me now in all my sweaty glory, an extra 20 pounds having parked itself around my middle, and the bags under my eyes big enough to store a set of keys and some extra change. He honestly shouldn't have bothered. I've heard about divorced couples who remain friends. Best friends, even. But it's safe to say Scott and I won't be exchanging friendship bracelets or braiding one another's hair anytime soon. Not that we aren't friendly, mind you. In fact, we're nothing but smiles when we see one another. Like the smile I sent Scott across the table at Dylan's 21st birthday dinner, when our son mentioned that his dad's latest girlfriend thought Dylan's anthropology major meant he'd be working at anthropology after graduation. Or the smile Scott sent me over Holly's high school graduation cake last spring, as he handed our daughter a set of keys to a brand new convertible. Never mind, we'd already settled on a plane ticket to Spain as our shared gift. For the benefit of our kids, Scott and I are the masters of friendly, cordial, and polite on the few occasions a year we're required to see each other. I simply hadn't anticipated his surprise wedding to a woman I've never heard of to be one of them. And in Central America, no less. I slide my untouched coffee aside. It smells divine, but the caffeine will only make the sweating worse. Well, considering I haven't been on a date since the divorce, and my lady cave condition is only hospitable to cacti, I'm willing to concede. Do I include a white flag with the congratulatory card, or does he expect me to actually fawn all over? I tilt my head to read the admittedly beautiful script. Taylor? Evie sets down her cup and finally relaxes back into one of my cross-back chairs. her long midnight hair spilling over one shoulder. "What does it say about me that I kind of want to meet her?" "It says you're human." I manage a grin as the fan does its work and the heat in my cheeks begins to subside. "And considering there's undoubtedly an identical envelope waiting in your mailbox, you may soon get your chance." Her husband is Scott's best friend, after all. Her lip curls. "I'm not going to that rat bastard's wedding. Dan can go on his own for all I care." Her eyes widen then, back snapping straight. "You don't think Scott's going to start expecting Dan and me to do couple things with them, do you?" I rest my elbow on the table, dropping my chin into my hand as I give her the look. The same look I've been perfecting since the day I filed for divorce and our mutual friends all felt the need to choose. It takes Evie only a nanosecond to recognize it and roll her eyes. Still, I feel the need to reiterate, especially at a time like this. I love you to pieces for always having my back, but this divorce is between Scott and me. You and Dan have known us for 2 decades. There's no reason to choose. Well, Dan still adores you, as you well know, but I also won't be surprised if he's put on best man duty. I'll never understand my husband's taste in men, even if his taste in women is on point. She grins, and I know she's heard me, so I don't launch into the part of the speech about Scott surely having some redeeming qualities if I managed to stay married to him for almost 20 years. But I'm still not going. I lift my abandoned coffee cup and clink it to hers. That makes 2 of us. Since work doesn't miraculously do itself, Evie and I part ways to get on with our days. Owning my own company has its perks, like calling my own hours, but it also makes me responsible for the livelihoods of almost 50 other people. Decisions I make have consequences, and I don't take that lightly. So I settle in at the big white-scrolled desk in my home office and use the remote to switch on the mini split resting high on one wall. AC in March? You bet your ass. One benefit of my full afternoon of meetings and emails is that I'm too busy to spare even one more thought for Scott and his scheme to mess with my head. There are operations issues and production schematics that take precedence over my ex and his swinging dick show. But when my phone rings a couple hours later and I see Holly's name on the screen, all my bravado crumbles. Shit. Please, God, let Scott have used the brain above his belt for once. "Hey, sweetie." My tone borders on cartoonish when I answer. "Mom, oh my God, this is so exciting." My shoulders slump in relief at the elation in my daughter's voice. He didn't tell her yet. Either that, or she hasn't checked her dorm mailbox yet today. I swivel my chair to face the large picture window that looks over my backyard, but before I can gather myself to inquire about the source of her enthusiasm, she barrels on. "He said they planned it to coincide with Dylan's and my spring break, and we each get to bring a friend. Isn't that so cool? Hannah's already shopping for bikinis online. Belize is way better than Myrtle Beach." She lets out a squeal, while my brain trips over itself on its attempt to process this information. "So, you're okay?" I rock forward in the chair, a torrent of emotions tearing through me. Relief at my daughter's emotional well-being, gratitude that Scott didn't screw this up, and, okay, I can admit it, a tiny dash of petty resentment that my kid doesn't appear to be batting an eye about her father getting remarried so suddenly. "Okay, I'm over the moon. And Hannah and I both agree you are pure class for coming too. I gotta say, I was worried how you might take the news, but as usual, you are a rock star. Looks like I had nothing to worry about." Oh, God. Oh, no. My hand itches for that shovel again, and I shoot to my feet. That's sweet, Halls, but... She cuts me off. Dylan's super psyched you're coming too. He said he hasn't seen you since Christmas. How is that possible? My vision clouds over, the backyard disappearing from view and my voice coming out almost hollow. He's been busy with school and... I get cut off again by the whirling dervish that is my spawn. I can't wait for us to go snorkeling together. The reefs are supposed to be amazing, and Dad and Taylor have all these events planned. It's going to be straight fire. Blinking to clear my head, I decide it's time to nip this thing in the bud before she announces I have apparently volunteered myself to perform the ceremony uniting Scott and his child bride. Okay, now I'm just being bitchy. I don't know the first thing about this woman. Sweetie, it sounds great, and I'm thrilled for you that you're going. I'm just not sure if I can make it. Possible excuses ricochet off the walls of my skull while my daughter's declaration of my rock star status bats them away. Of course you can. Ashley can practically run the business on her own if her Insta posts are anything to go by. Did you know the Paps caught Jennifer Aniston wearing your livies? Paps? I'm certain it's a word I should know, but I've never claimed to be trendy. The fact that I own my own fashion brand is something I find to be the height of comedy on an almost daily basis. Paparazzi, Mom. I can almost hear her eye roll. Hannah has been telling everyone on campus that her roommate's mom is the famous brain behind the hottest shoes in Hollywood. I don't know that I would go that far, but a spark of pride blooms in my chest, nevertheless. I may be far from a fashion maven or a clothes horse, but 2 years ago, I somehow managed to make a name for myself when a pair of bespoke sandals I produced on a whim with a 3D printer captured the attention of some very influential people. It was nothing but dumb luck, but I've been riding the wave ever since, with the help of my very social media savvy assistant, Ashley, that is. Well, tell Hannah we'll get her a pair when we can get a scan of her foot. Hannah is a doll, and the two of them are so close, it's hard to believe they only met 6 months ago when student housing paired them up as roommates. I hear a rustling sound over Holly's muffled voice. My mom says she's going to get you a pair of livies. A scream reverberates through the line before Holly comes back on, laughing in my ear. It's not work that's standing in the way, Holly. I don't want to lie to her. It's just a bit... awkward. Although hanging out with my kids in paradise doesn't sound terribly taxing. I miss those goobers. I totally hear you, she responds, much to my relief, proving that honesty truly is the best policy. Hannah and I have already thought about that, and we're getting you a date for the wedding. A date? No, that's not what I meant. I rush to halt whatever interfering plans my daughter and her bestie might be hatching. The only thing worse than showing up to your ex-husband's wedding alone and looking a hot mess is showing up with a hired escort from a local Belizean street corner. Good God. She continues as if I haven't spoken. I mean, I know you and Dad are super chill with each other, but no woman wants to show up to her ex's wedding flying solo, right? Oh, dear God. No, it's fine, really. What the hell am I saying? It will be great being there on my own. A vacation suite to myself sounds like heaven. Get a grip, Olivia. And I've always wanted to visit Belize. What? I'm quite certain the thought has never crossed my mind. Oh, shoot. We're gonna be late for class. Gotta run. Love you, Mom. The line goes dead, and I'm left with a phone dangling from my hand and a problem the size of New Jersey to figure out.
You can listen to the rest of the book in the Tempt Romance Audiobooks app, available on the App Store and Google Play. The link to the book is in the description. Discover even more bestsellers and exclusive stories updated weekly, only in Tempt Romance Audiobooks.